Alright, welcome back to the SuperCoach channel. In this video, we're going to do an update of the BBL um, SuperCoach side. So we are still about 3 weeks away from the first game, which is, as you can see there, Brisbane Heat at home to the Stars. Should be a cracker. Might head out there myself and have a bit of a look. But just having a bit of a think about, making some changes at this stage, given the latest information. I guess, one comment on the initial sort of team that I've set up here is that I haven't really thought too much about the fact that Brisbane has a triple game week. And, you're spot on. I was really just picking the players that I'd like across the season, I suppose. But I guess if you look at the fact Brisbane has 3 games in this first game week, that's a bit extended. And they do have a game week. They do have a game in round 2 as well. So they have 4 games in the first 2 game weeks, which is pretty nice. It's definitely worth considering them. I guess if so, like ranking the teams in terms of their strength of schedule, I suppose. So the Heat's obviously first because of the 3 game weeks, the 3 in game week 1. The Renegades would be second because they have a double game week first, but then they play round 2. They also have a double game week in round 3, which is pretty handy. So 5 games in the first 3 game weeks. So I think for that reason, my man De Kock is absolutely staying in the side. Sydney have a good schedule. So, 2 in the first game week and then 1 and 1. Same story with the Perth Scorchers. So, the likes of Philippi, I think pretty locked in. Anyone from the Perth Scorchers, they're all weapons. After that, I think the next team is the Stars. So they have, double game week round 1, but they then blank in round 2. But they also have a double game week in round 3. So, having someone like a Glenn Maxwell that you can hold for a week, I think is, a great option. So we've covered the 6. So I think after that we've got, so I've talked about 5 teams. Adelaide. So Adelaide have the single this game round, but have the double in round 2. So obviously, we want to be targeting those other 5 teams probably a bit more. But, I've currently got 3. I can probably hold 1 sort of Stars player this week, or for the first week, I should say. And then the Hurricanes and the Thunder, they're pretty steady. They just have single game week, single game week, single game week. Even the round 4, single game week. Oh, Thunder has a double in round 4. But we don't really need to think that far ahead. So, as good value as the likes of McDermott and Sanger are, they're just maybe not going to get the cash generation as quick as the cheapies from some of these other teams. So, just something to make ourselves aware of, I think, as we go through and update the team. So I think the first sort of thing that we can do is we're going to get out of the top dollar options. As good as Richardson and Short are, they just don't represent value. Particularly someone like Short, who may, sort of fail with the bat, and then might only bowl a couple of overs and go the distance. So probably not someone that we really should consider. Definitely keep an eye for game week 2 when he has the double. Then he's got 2 chances of going big. But I think the obvious replacement is Michael Nessa, or Nisa, however you say his name. He's an absolute legend. I'm pretty sure I did talk about him a bit in the initial video. He's shown a lot more with the bat in the last sort of 6 months. Almost sort of genuine all-rounder type status. Triple game week, probably batting, I reckon, 8 for the Heat, who, I guess if we look at their batting lineup, probably it isn't too prolific. Actually, we can have a look at that now. So if we look at the Heat, so the batsmen. So I guess in an ideal world, their top 5 would probably be Kawaja, Munro, Labuschagne, Renshaw, Billings. But you'd imagine Quadra and Labuschagne are being involved in the Australian setup. So they might play the first game, but I don't think they'll play the others. So, in terms of them, well, who's next on the list? It's probably going to be Josh Brown. So that cheaper option. Um, I guess, did I include Billings in that top five before? I probably didn't. He'd be number five anyway. So here's one I know a lot of people are looking at as a wicket keeper option, but he does play in that middle order, and you are sort of betting on the uh, the Heat failing at the top of the order, which you can if you want to, but I think someone like maybe a Josh Brown would be a nice option to include, just because he's got three chances to go off, and we know if he goes off, he can absolutely go off. Um, I guess with that as well, we've made some money, so we could still bring in Billings. We might even be able, given all the cash we got, I reckon we can get Munro. So I might just bet short for the time being. Leave actually. I'm gonna do that. Bring Philippe in there, something like that. So covering those bases. Um, I guess if we go to the ball side of things, so well, if we go back to the batting just for a second, so I think the top five for most of the triple game will be Munro, Brown at the top, probably Renshaw about three, I'd imagine. Someone like McSweeney at four, um, Billings at five. Um, I imagine they're going to carry Jimmy Pearson at six, and then someone like Paul Walter at seven. So if you want that all-rounder option from the Heat, I think maybe Walter is that supreme all-rounder. Nessa at eight, um, Bartlett at nine, and then probably Kuhneman and Johnson. So for that reason, I'm going to go out of Schwebson and in Kuhneman, bring him into the team. You know, Walter is an intriguing one. I don't know much about him, but I know they've had like that Lewis Gregory type player in the past from the Heat, who's the typical English all rounder, sort of handy with both, but not really one or the other. Um, might look into him a bit closer, but you'd imagine, if he's got 101 break even, that's about right. Surely. They're projecting to score 102. Well, there you go. How does that work? All their break even is just ridiculous because they've got three games, maybe. Might be it. I guess, their scores will go up and down after round one. So, yeah, so based on the expected team, we've got five Heat players. We will have to start trading out of them before round three because we can only carry four on the bench. Um, so I think what we've got there is fine for them. So then I guess we just work around the Heat. So as I said, pretty happy with De Kock. Philippe's got a good draw and opening batsman, so he'll rotate well with McDermott when needed. So we can park McDermott on the bench as the wicket keeper and have that flexibility. We don't have to waste trades. Um, Maxwell is an absolute keeper. Mitchell Marsh, it'd be interesting if he's in the Test team. After he established himself there over in England. Um, but I guess the great thing about him is we can go to essentially anyone we want. So I guess the backup plan for him will be Tom Curran. Probably bats a little bit lower than Marsh, but probably more chance of being consistent with the ball. Marsh, there's so many all rounders and stuff at the Scorchers. He's not always required to bowl, I guess. But for now, we will keep Marsh because if he's in, that double game week's pretty tasty first up. So yeah, all in all, I think the batting lineup is pretty solid. Short and Jack Edwards as those speculative cheapies, but I guess if we have a look down at some other options, so yeah, we don't want to overcapitalise on Heat, so we could upgrade to Billings, but um, probably not worth it. Stoinis, if he's going to bowl, might be worth it. We might have a look at the stars a bit closer. Um, Walter, we've discussed. Yeah, I guess there's no real obvious standouts. Maybe Madison, he bats pretty high up the order for Renegades, perhaps. We did have Fraser McGurk, who obviously went off in the domestic cup game. So, with their good run, we could take a flyer on him over Darcy Short, just see how he settles in at Adelaide. Well, actually, probably more likely to play him in round two than Jack Edwards in round one. So, might do it that way. We are interested in Jack Edwards, though, if he does bowl a bit. Um, but yeah, not sure what's going on with him. I don't think he played the last Shield game. So, from what I saw, Sammy Hazlitt at Hobart would be an interesting one, I suppose. So let's have a bit of a closer look at some of the teams, like the Stars, for example. So just looking at their setup here. So they've got, Larkin and Burns. So, but really, I guess, they're going to open with Stoinis and possibly Tom Rogers. Um, you know, Maxwell, probably three. Harry Brook will be up there too, so probably four. Um, I guess Sam Harper. Well, Sam Harper will probably be opener actually. So Stoinis and Harper would probably open. Imagine, well, definitely top three. So top four there. Bo Webster will be involved, but probably at six or seven. Um, yeah, probably seven. So it's not a lot of value there, but that's fine. Yeah. What else we got? Uh, what were the other teams we talked about? Renegades we'll have a look at. So yeah, look, we'll definitely be De Kock, and you imagine, Finch, Marsh, Madison would be in the top four. So maybe there isn't room for Fraser McGurk, but Joe Clark as well if he's playing or if he's coming in later. I'm not sure. Will Sutherland, sorry, they've had a lot of faith in for Victoria, so you'd imagine he'll be in the team. Hmm. So I think the batting sort of squad is pretty good, even if we just have those placeholders. So it's probably just worthwhile having a bit more of a look at the bowlers. Um, so you can see there's plenty of experience there for the Renegades, but I guess Sampa would be good considering that yeah, he definitely won't be playing in the Test team. So who do we sit out? Or Stanley probably because we've got the money. So we'll put Sampa in. Rashid Khan is more of a. Can we get rid of Rashid Khan maybe? So the Sixers, who are they running with? Well, Abbott for sure, Curran for sure, Hayden Kerr, you'd think. So probably Ahmed, there's a good chance of a game, so we'll keep him. And then one of Todd Murphy and Sean O'Keefe, and then maybe one of Dorcas or Bird. So at those prices, we're going to avoid all of them anyway until we get a bit more certainty about the team. Scorchers, double game week. Let's have a look at them. So we already binned Richardson, and you just look at their wealth of riches. But I guess one that has been hyped up is this Hamish McKenzie. So last year they had Richard Cholly, or however you say his name, the left arm spinner. I think Hamish McKenzie is a wrist spinner as well. They've had Hatsoglu in the past, so yeah, there's a bit of talk that Agar will miss some time with injury as well. So just looking at that and everyone else being, pace, you'd imagine he might actually be a chance. So double gamer at bottom dollar, we'll lock that in the team. But obviously, if he doesn't play, we might have to keep some money in the bank to go back to maybe Tanvir Sanger, for example. Um, so what was the other team? Is it the Stars double game week? Yeah. Um, so you imagine like Coulter Nile will be there. Steketty, you go, didn't realise he'd move, but he'd probably be a chance. Whichever Pakistani bloke is ready to go. Scotty Boland. So they don't. I guess Maxwell's their spin option. There you go. More reason to get on Maxi, I think. Uh, and then after that, don't know if it's worth worrying about too much. Thunder. Big fan of Sanger, but it's just who does he fit in for? We've got Swap Zamps and Khan. I guess we're going to bring Rashid Khan anyway, so might as well load up. So man, Khan they've talked a bit about too as a cheaper bowling option. If you look at the Thunder, it'll be Sams, McAndrew, Green, Sanger, and then one other. So probably Khan if they're bringing him in as the international. Sanders a decent backup. They could even run with both, because Sam's Green, even McAndrew can bat pretty well. So 6, 7, 8 sort of deal. Maybe Green's a little bit high at 7, but it's possible. So I think we're pretty close to our updated team. I think maybe having that 100k in the bank won't be the worst option either in terms of looking for cover. Because we can always go Sanger in if Mackenzie doesn't really pan out. Marsh, we can get some money out of Marsh, I suppose, going to say Curran or even Sam's. He only plays one game, but he'll score pretty well most weeks. But we'll go back to Mackenzie. Just clear the list, I suppose, and go to the bottom. So Chowdhury's a. So if you are looking for like a what do you call it, loophole option, cheap option, bats and bowls, so you can swing him around as you see fit. I guess as well, because I just realised we've got Nasser and Rayan Ahmed. I should have done Nasser, he would have been easy to find. But that's alright. So we can move them up into this space. So we can probably still cover. Well, then I guess we get stuck with having him on the bench, don't we? He's not going to replace those 5, probably. Regret saying that. Stick to the original structure. What do I? Monroe, Philippine, Maxwell. Marsh. I can't even remember who my other 60k batsman was now. I'll find out when I see it. Short and McGurk. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so I mean, there is the possibility of getting rid of these guys and bringing in Sanger, but then we're going to have to play maybe Rashid Khan with the single game week. If Mackenzie plays the double game week, that would make it a lot easier to make that move. Let's play for it. Why not? So where are we in bowlers? So that'd be Sanger and Ahmed up here. And something like that. Looks a bit yuck, but that's fine. You save the team as it is. Still got heaps of money to make moves if we need to, which is nice. Particularly, I suppose, for week 2, trying to get Matt Short in to the team. He's going to cost money from pretty much everyone unless Munro goes off, in which case you want to keep him based on form anyway. All right, well, might leave the team as it is. We can tinker with it all day, but I think you've done pretty well to last this long through the video. So, yeah, if you've got any thoughts or anyone that I've clearly obviously missed, or I've heard some sneaky rumours maybe Johnson won't be fit. I saw he was in the 2020 squad that's going to India, so I don't know how true that is. Um, that sort of thing. Let us know, not just for my own, personal benefit, but for the community. Look after the boys and girls. But yeah, if you've got anything for us, let us know in the comments. Like the video if you enjoy the BBL content, you're looking forward to the season. Subscribe to the channel for all the fantasy content. And other than that, we'll hit the outro.